So how to be the chosen voice by Google when people are searching on Google using their voice. Okay, so you know what I'm talking about when you go to Siri or Google Home or Alexa and you go, hey, Google, I'm looking for art classes. And Google will go, according to Google, there are this many art classes around. Or, hey, Google, is hypnotherapy evil? Well, according to this blog by, Jane Rushton, hypnotherapy is this. So how do you become the chosen voice by Google? So did you know 55% of people are expected to have a voice-activated device at home? So Google has been creating or has created and has needed to create a new algorithm or artificial intelligence to be able to cope with being able to do that. And this, in essence, has affected how Google works in the sense that before things were always very much keyword focused and keyword phrases focused, but now it is becoming even more specific according to what a person will ask for. Now, I'll use an example for this. Sandy doesn't like to type. It takes him forever and he has to put his glasses on to do it. So whenever he wants Google to do something, he pushes the little microphone and he always asks, hey, Google, find me where I can buy a new motorbike helmet for sale. And I always joke because Google will give him always the best answers. And I always tell him, Google does not like me. Every time I ask a question, it never gives me, it gives me the roundabout answer. So literally, I think it's because I ask a complicated question and he will ask it so simple and plain, and the algorithm knows how to understand him. So if
Men are direct, Chantal.
Very direct. So Google has learned very direct. He gets the answer every single time. And when I ask it, I'm always like, could you ask your Google? Could you ask your bitch? Because she'll give it to you. She's not going to give it to me. So this new algorithm that's being created is called BERT, which is a bidirectional encoder representation from transformer, which none of us need to know. Thank goodness they just called them BERT. Which is basically an algorithm which has been researching the human voice search and how people use their voices to search so that it can start to learn and grow and become more accurate when answering the questions. So when you use your Google Home, Google is able to mimic voice queries. So, I mean, what does this mean? Well, as I said, with keywords, they're not the only thing to consider anymore, but it's the exact questions that your clients would ask you. Now, remember, what somebody asks you doesn't necessarily mean what the answer is that you're wanting to get. So, for example, I did this with Jody this morning, and Jody did her, I think she was doing her benefit bullets for her sales program, talking about, what's in the program and what you can do. And I don't even have an example right now, Jody, but it was something along the lines of, can you give me an example, Jody?
I had to take a lot of notes, we will say that.
I could probably just go to here and I'll be able to find it.
Talking about the bullet points.
Yeah, so I was talking about the original, here I've got the old
So
one.
originally it said, assess where you're at. Assess where you're at, and you were saying about that's not really a acquisition, that's not really something that they're aspiring to, because that can freak people out, realizing where they're actually. She said, obviously as coaches we find that out, but they don't need to know that. They need to know that that you're going to help them, give them time and for self-care, for example.
And you're going to help them with self-discovery. So basically, would a woman, a mother who is struggling right now and she feels like she's losing her mind, would she go into voice search and go, hey, Google, how can I assess myself? Thanks, Jody, for that one. That just takes you right back to my leathers again for riding my bicycle. How do I assess myself? So you can understand how we have to re-look at the way or the words that we're using, because although Jodie's going to take you through a process of assessing where she's at, okay, what the mother may put in instead is, how do I rediscover myself? How do I find myself? So we have to think about what are the words that somebody would be using. And now it's not even words anymore. It's not even the written word. It's the voice word.
How do I stop reaching for the wine bottle?
Yeah. What time is wine time? But, you know, if you create content, you know, what time is wine time? And then you write a blog, which is called What Time is Wine Time? And that will potentially come up when someone goes, what time is wine time? And Jane goes, hey, while you are whining, you can be painting. So, and and she could just reframe it and put it back in again. So we have to be a little bit creative in how we do this. Okay, so it's the exact questions that clients would be asking for. So we always have to ask, is that the question someone would be asking? Is that the outcome? Is that the question? Is that the pain? So if you answer those questions on your website, you'll rank higher. Okay, so if you tick all Google's boxes, you know, you've set up your website properly, you've used all the right words, you've got your Google My Business, you have testimonials, you're active on it. If you use the words that your customers are searching for, then you will come up and you will rank higher, which is really important. Now, another way to do this is